Hello, everyone. Welcome back. My name is Jeff Mendelson, and this is the One Big Tip podcast. My guest today is Josh Ramsey. Josh is a business development manager at ClearBrand, a digital marketing agency focused on data driven marketing that gets results, more leads, and sales. He believes that without good marketing, businesses die and people suffer. Josh stands on the shoulders of giants who have done the research and have the experience. He is here to share these truths and practical tools to help businesses thrive because he believes that entrepreneurs and marketers with ethical and scientific marketing strategies can change the world. It's going to be a great discussion today. Josh, thank you so much for joining me and welcome to the show.
Jeff, super happy to be here. Thanks so much for having me.
Yeah. So listen, I want to talk a little bit about what it is you do at ClearBrand and get an idea of who you are and how you became so amazing. Who is Josh?
Well, thanks, man. Yes, I'm the business development manager at clearbrand.com. And what I take care of here at ClearBrand is part of our training. So we do train people in marketing. I also take care of some lead gen, reaching out. I run the podcast show. So I'm a host like yourself. And basically, you could whittle it all down to building relationships and then adding value, specifically in the marketing space.
Tell me a little bit about ClearBrand and what it is that you guys do.
Yeah, so ClearBrand, we arrive with the right questions. So we're not so much just laser focused on getting the answers that clients are looking for right on the first day. We really, what we have done is built systems that can implement the finding of those answers using very, very good questions. So we don't take for granted that any sector or market segment is the same, and so we need to be asking some profound questions to make sure that the strategies that our clients and companies throughout, the marketplace are using can get them the results that they need. And the results that we're looking for are leads and sales.
Yeah, so one of the interesting things about that is that a lot of people think that marketing is sort of like this, almost like this black art, but really the foundation of it is in a lot of science, right? It's in a lot of finite numbers, tangible things that you can latch onto and improve and measure, and to just see how you can make that happen. How then do you then take some of that information and turn it from the science part of it, the data driven aspects into the art, which makes which makes your offering, much more compelling for your clients?
Yeah, so on the creative side, we've got well, on both sides, we've got this great frame, which we use to apply this scientific approach to getting marketing results, and that's what we call the ClearBrand marketing flywheel. So we combine both of these, right? So the science is, what is the best way to get creative across, and then what are the results that we're seeing from the marketplace? So we start with building memories. And we're going to use that creative, and we use story to do that. We light up our customers' brains with story. We connect emotionally. We use great distinctive design to make sure that we are recognizable and memorable so that when they move into a buying moment, we're there. And once we've done that really well, once we are building memories very, very well, which is both creative and scientific, then our downstream marketing actions are going to be returning so much more value, less marketing waste, more time getting less done, more leads and sales.
So really what you're talking about here is really going back to basics, like, doing your avatar work, figuring out who your ideal client is, and really having some real intense clarity on who are you serving. How do you arrive on that? Can you walk me through a little bit of your process about how you would approach that when a new client comes into comes to you guys? What does that look
Yeah.
like on your side?
Yeah. So as I say, we focus on questions, and the first thing we do when we work with any client is we send them a very comprehensive survey. So we have been asking questions around, using story to communicate with customers. We've got to figure out where their sales are currently working. If they're a startup, what are competitors doing? So we gather a whole bunch of information, and then we research it even further in their industry, in the product or service space that they're in, competitors that are existing around that, and then from there we put together that initial strategy on building out the brand, or changing the way that the brand is positioned without changing it too much. So that would be the first piece, is actually collecting data and then using that to build out something that's really going to be recognizable and memorable. And the reason really here is that only 5% of the market is ready to buy right now. So for most of anyone's customers, they're going to be engaged, well, interacting with that buying moment in the future. And so we need to be in their brain. We need to be remembered. They need to know exactly what we do. And clarifying messaging is just super important. So that's why it's one of the things that we start in our first component of marketing, building memories.
So I really like the way you articulated that. Really what you're doing here. You're creating a story, right? You're giving people a reason to care, right? A
Hmm.
reason to care about a brand, and to just go and and then think about ways that they can be engaged with, right? Whether it's like Starbucks, for example, came up with this really genius way of pushing everyone through the app, right? Just this morning, I was able to order my coffee before I actually got to the store, after I dropped off my kid, and it was hot and fresh waiting for me there, right? And what happens is, like at first, it really wasn't that well received, right? Because people are like, oh, why do I need another app on my phone? Right? Why do I need this? And it has now become like the centerpiece for how they divvy out rewards. A lot of the rewards that get pushed to me, are based off of some kind of algorithm that they figured out that Jeff only drinks double tall mochas.
Yeah.
Right.
And
That's it. Those are the only things I buy from there. Right. And they know that it's like, hey, let me see if I can get them to come in by giving them extra points, for example, for that. What are some of the other examples that you guys come up with to help people sort of, um, not only engage with that story that your clients are trying to build, but to also continue that and build upon that relationship?
yeah, so I love the example that you gave, because we can pretty much guarantee that the decision makers at Starbucks are not sitting in a boardroom going, "Well, I wonder what we should do with the app next. Well, maybe we should. Oh, what do we feel like doing?" No, no, no. They are tracking every single interaction on that app. They're collecting data, feedback, and they're making decisions based on that evidence, right? So that's why we lean into this idea of follow the data, or follow what is working, get feedback from the market. The next piece of what we would be doing there is then maximizing availability. So just like you mentioned with that app, it's super easy to buy, right? It's easy to, if you think of coffee, you think of the app, you open it, you get your coffee. So we want to, once we've built out a solid foundation with story and design, we're then going to make our offer available everywhere that people are looking for this product or service. And then we're going to make it super easy for them to buy it. You imagine going into a grocery store and you need to buy some toothpaste. You reach out onto the shelf, and if it's on the shelf, you'll buy it. If it's not, you'll buy some other product. You're not going to wait for just this one brand that you're looking for. So, if we want to grow our businesses, we need to maximize where we're available, being easy to find and easy to buy.
So that's really good from from a data collection standpoint. But then, you know, let's start talking about the art that goes into this as well. Like the creative that you need to, that you need to get done in order for it to resonate. Like with your clients. How does that creative process start? And like, what do you do to make that more compelling, for your clients?
Yeah, so at the core of that, we're going to be leaning into story, and story lights up seven parts of the human brain as opposed to just facts and figures, which only lights up two. And at the core of it, story is connecting cause and effect. And for example, if you're a running shoe company, right, and your website says excellence through progressive technology, or whatever it says, right, the customer doesn't know what you do. They don't know where in their brain to store what you do and the problem that you can solve for them, which translates into what you were saying, why they should care about you. So the question that we want to answer in our messaging is, this is what we do. So if you're a running shoe, it's going to be, we sell running shoes that improve your personal best and don't hurt your back, or whatever the line is. Now, where this connects with science, I've got a really interesting case study that's going to make this segue a bit of a profound journey. So Coca-Cola earns more than 50% of their revenue from people that buy 1 to 2 cans of Coca-Cola per year. Now that's pretty huge. And what it tells us is that we need to be reaching as many, as you said, avatars as possible. We need to be reaching as many users as we can. So knowing that, which is what the data tells us, we then go back to story and we build more connections with more uses, right? So maybe somebody is looking for a shoe that's going to help them with a sore back. We want to have messaging for that and an ad for that. Somebody else wants, shoes that are going to just make them super fast, and they don't, that's what they're looking for. Okay, so we're going to have messaging and creative for that. Somebody else wants to have shoes that nobody else has shoes for. So those are going to be high ticket shoes, and they've got a different messaging and creative. So when we understand how we can really scale our income by connecting more connections with uses, then we have a frame of how to apply that creative, because we can get, it's this balance. It's a both and. We can't have just, unlimited creative without this kind of systems and structure. So we want to balance the two of them to make sure that we are growing our company in a way that is sustainable, very profitable.
I like that you brought up the shoe example, because the advertising that came to my mind was Nike's "Just Do It" campaign, right? You got the Nike swoosh, and it's like, just do it. Or if you think about the way McDonald's, "I'm loving it," right? And
Hmm.
these are both worldwide advertising campaigns that get translated into multiple languages. On
Yep.
its face, it's all encompassing, yet it gets associated with a very narrow product focus, right? So, for example, like, just do it. Just do what? Just run? Just do CrossFit? Just do walking, things like that. Or McDonald's, "I'm loving it." Like, I'm loving the cheeseburger. Uh, I'm loving the ice cream, even though their ice cream machines never work. That's another big documented problem, right? Let's try to break that down a little bit. Like, because basically what we're talking about here is this really big overarching tagline, right? But then it can be broken down then into multiple subgroups, like you said, multiple avatars. How then do you go about thinking of that and being able to address each one of those subgroups within that main avatar of who you're trying to target?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, the reason that avatars are useful, so we want to lean into this idea of the niche or the avatar, but we also want to be aware of the word focus. So we don't want to limit who can buy from us, right? Because remember, we're trying to maximize availability. We want to be available to anyone that wants to buy from us. However, the avatar or the focus gives us something to start with. We are always limited with a marketing budget, with human resource, with time. So we have to start somewhere. And that somewhere is going to be very useful to know, more about our ideal client and the problem that they're trying to solve, so that we can, show them that we have a solution. So, you know, the idea of a focus group or a focus point or an avatar or a marketing niche, that is really to start us off. That's the lowest lying fruit. But if we want to grow into a great brand like Nike, like McDonald's, these massive global players like Apple, we need to be maximizing. We need to reach as much of the market as possible. And I'll use another case study to really exemplify this. So when we think of Harley Davidson, the motorcycle company, what is the image, the typical avatar of this motorcycle rider? What do they look like? Maybe I could get some feedback from you on that. What does this image look like? Who is this person? What are they wearing?
What's interesting is that I once went to price out a Harley bike, right? And it costs more than my car. And
Yeah,
the
yeah.
people that ride, this particular brand, or these elevated brands like Harley and Triumph,
Hmm.
things like that. Like, these are not middle class customers. These are probably 10% to 1% type people, that want to have fun, that want to have some kind of identity. So even though they're in jeans and a leather jacket and and a funky helmet, they're also the people representing you in court,
Yeah.
during the
Well,
week,
you
or
see, this is it.
they're
This is
performing
exactly the
murals,
point.
right?
This is exactly the point, is that when people think of Harley Davidson riders, they think of leather jackets, torn jeans, biker boots, big beards, maybe a chain, patches on the back. The data tells us that it's 3.5% of their revenue. So that idea, I mean, it's part of their brand. And yes, it's aspirational for some that want to have that kind of free life spirit. But the data is that if they only focused on those customers, their business would be 96.5% smaller. Their revenue would be 96% less than what it is now, because they've managed to build more connections to different kinds of users, right? And as you say, these are your high earners. They're doctors, they're dentists, they're, pediatricians, they're lawyers, and they're not necessarily going the full biker avatar. And Harley Davidson knows that. So they've made it available, accessible, easy to find, easy to buy. They've used a great story that connects with that customer and it solves their problem.
What's interesting about the Harley story is that that's one of the few corporate brands that people are actually willing to tattoo on their bodies. That they're
Yeah.
willing
I mean,
to,
that says
go
something.
all in, right?
Yeah. That says something. I mean, talk about building memories, right? I mean, that is forever. So yeah, they're doing a great job. And I mean, we can talk about that for a while. I love the origin story, but basically just to wrap up the frame, that is how we approach marketing at clearbrand.com. We want to build memories, maximize availability, and reach the market. And these are fundamental approaches that will help us avoid the downstream. You watch a viral TikTok from some guy that says, "Oh, every business has got to have 50 blogs." And then there we go. 2 months of work. We just 50 blogs and we don't look up because it's nice to be busy, but we got to make sure we're busy with the right ideas and the right things that are going to work for our business in our sector.
So once you've reached that nexus of, like having your data and understanding your data and having a clear North Star that you need to go towards, and then you create that story,
Mhm.
that pushes into your offer, and you have that convergence, like what happens next? Like once you start presenting all of that, what are the next steps?
Yeah, I mean, for a business, so many processes, people, scale. But for the marketing, then we're going to go for these other fruits, right? We've got the low lying fruit. It's got return on income. We can scale it up if we want to because the conversions are great. So we've got that kind of that user profile, whatever we want to call it, niche or avatar. We use the word focus. We've got that focus working for us. Now we've got income, so now we can reinvest and potentially look to open up other user demographics in the market so that we can really reach the market. And this is why we call it the flywheel. We go round and round, right? Consistent effort, cumulative response. So we're going to go back. Can we improve how we build memories? Can we look into different ways of building memories? Okay, great. Are we very easy to find and easy to buy everywhere? Look at Apple. Apple sells their iPhones at Walmart, Best Buy, from carriers like Verizon, eBay, on Amazon. And if they are making themselves available everywhere that their category of product is available, then how can you not? They're the most recognizable brand in the world. Well, maybe that's not true at the time of this recording, but they're up there.
Yeah, what's really interesting. I love how you touched on Apple, because it's really that device that you want, right? And then you have fanboys like me that go all in on the ecosystem, between having everything live in the iCloud and having the laptop and the desktop computer and connecting to my iPad and my phone and even being able to see stuff on my watch. Right? What happens is that it becomes so insanely useful, so and it becomes so efficient that no matter where I am, I can really take advantage of what's going on. I was in an airport and I only whipped out my phone, but I could still see all the files on my desktop. right? And I was able to send a PDF that was on my desktop, send it out, with no problems. Nobody knew any better. It's gotten to the point, at least for me, I don't tell people when and where I travel anymore, right? I don't even bother because there's no reason to, right? Here in the US, we have T-Mobile, which it's the only US carrier that doesn't price gouge you when you're roaming, like when you're
Sounds
traveling
good.
abroad, right? So I'm getting data in all countries, even though it's kind of slow. I'm getting free text messages and also the phone calls, like I'm not being charged $3 a minute for it, right? And that is why, a company like that has my business. And coupled with the fact that I'm using products and technology and software that gels perfectly with that, it makes it a perfect ecosystem, for me to exist. And it really doesn't matter whether I'm in Miami, whether I'm in somewhere in Europe or in the Far East, I'm still connected and it's all good. Right. And people just don't need to know where Jeff is in order for me to still stay in touch and deliver a cohesive product. So I
Yeah,
really,
and I was just going to say that's the beauty of the market, right? Is that excellence should be the ticket to play. And it should be the ticket to play for everyone. So if you have a product or a service that is subpar, your marketing is going to be super super difficult. So maybe that is the most fundamental question we can ask ourselves. Is this product excellent? Is this service excellent? Is this going to change our customers' lives? Is it going to, you can see Apple has changed the game for you, and that's great. But that should be what in the marketplace should be the entry level, right? It should be that's your ticket to play, and then all the marketing and how you help your users understand it and service and all that other stuff comes down the line. But I think it's a great reminder that we want our products, our services to be excellent, and then we want to market them really well.
amazing. Thank you so much for that genius there. Josh, where can people learn more about your company and how can they reach out to you directly if they want to learn more?
So, definitely check out clearbrand.com. That's clearbrand.com. And you can find a whole bunch of great resources on that site. Just a quick story. I actually bought from Clearbrand before I joined the team. So I really believe in what we're doing. So you can come to clearbrand.com and you can check that out. On LinkedIn, I'm so glad that we're live right now. So for anyone that is watching live, hello, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'd love to talk to you about your business and find how we can, help ask some fundamental questions about what you're doing to help you get the leads and sales that you deserve.
Amazing. Josh, thank you so much for joining me. This has been a lot of fun, and I really appreciate you bringing the energy. And it's just so much fun to nerd out on this stuff, just
Yeah, it's the
to
best.
really show people, what can be possible. Thank you for joining me today.
Awesome. Thank you